Just since we last spoke, there's obviously been all the nonsense with Hamas attacking Israel. We saw a peace ceasefire of sorts, and we've had Joe Biden wandering around, or Antony Blinken, his foreign secretary, whatever, wandering around. So tell us, Ami, you did a spoof video about getting funding for Hamas. We're just going to play it to you, and in typical Ami Horowitz style, it's a terrific kind of insight into young Americans and what they're thinking. We'll just play it, and then I'll get your comments on it.
We're raising money for American Friends for Hamas. So I work for American Friends for Hamas.
Okay.
We're not your father's terrorist organization. We've kind of evolved beyond that. We're still kind of what we do, but we've kind of rebuilt and rebranded ourselves. And Hamas is where it's at. We're raising money to do what we do as Hamas. We want to fund operations against Israel, and the type of attacks we're talking about are cafes and schools and soft targets. We're kind of like the next level BDS. It's like BDS, and then we're like BDS plus. We're looking to wipe Israel off the map. Yeah, we want, we're looking to destroy Israel. We don't want just Gaza. We want to have all of Israel.
No, I've actually been learning about in this last school year about everything that's going on over there. So I like the sound of what you're doing. It sounds like the great thing to do.
Okay, totally against the Israeli genocide.
Awesome. We just want to get rid of Israel, and it's for the Palestinians. Stay off drugs.
Now, very, very funny, but also very black humor there, Ami, but a terrific insight. Tell us about when you made that film and the reaction. Is it still relevant? Is that the thinking now, still on campuses?
Yeah, God, it's there are times when I'm lying on my couch drinking scotch, thinking of these crazy ideas for videos, where I say to myself, nah, that's never going to work. There's no way that American citizens are going to give me money to kill Jews. There's no way. And then when I go and I do that, it's just every time I see that, I've seen it a million times, obviously, it distresses me more and more, and it saddens me more and more. I mean, let's be clear about what's going on here. I was asking American students at an American university to give me money to kill Jewish citizens, to blow up cafes and schools and hospitals and synagogues, and they did so gleefully. Now, what's so sad, there's a number of things about this. First of all, it relates back to the conflict itself and how we saw the media and the left whitewash Hamas and the despicable acts they've done now, and of course the abominable acts they've done in the past. But I want to speak really quickly about social media, because that video was banned by YouTube, by Facebook, by Instagram. And it is still, and I made a big public furor on Twitter, and YouTube put it back up with an apology. Facebook, Instagram did not. In fact, Instagram even took down my post saying, why was this video taken down? Without reposting the video, just saying, why was it taken down? I'm exposing anti-Semitism. And they then said that if I post one more time asking the question why this video was taken down, they will deplatform me. That was the message I got from Instagram. So it's really across the board that it is sad and is frankly pathetic. But it does point to this larger and more problematic issue of how the left, not even the left, even mainstream Democrats have been whitewashing Hamas and defending Hamas. They are their erstwhile allies, maybe in some cases specifically so, in some cases they're just useful idiots. And you see it across the board from the AOCs to the New York Times. And that's what is even more troubling. They refuse to call it what it is, a terrorist organization trying to wipe the Jews off of the map. And when Jews defend themselves, they call them apartheid and war criminals. This is really the sadness we're facing now on this political and media landscape that we have.
Rita.
And we've seen even the head of diversity at Google comments he's made in the past about Jews having an insatiable appetite for war, just ugly anti-Semitic remarks, and that's coming from someone who's the head of diversity. Have Google taken some action there? Well, what's been their reaction to the fallout here?
What a joke. What a sad joke. The head of diversity. Yeah, no. Google, as far as we know, I mean, this is relatively new news. Google has taken no action. I would find it hard to believe that Google is going to fire a black man from the head of diversity, because anti-Semitism has been accepted discourse. Okay, in our political reality, that's the truth. That's what's going on. So if you say something about a black person, you should very well be fired. But if you say something about Jewish people, I mean, the ugliness of what he said, it wasn't even like some stupid trope about Jews having more power. It was an ugly, disgusting blood libel about Jews being warmongers and want war. No, nothing's going to happen to him. That's the state of situation we are now.
James.
What I'm really disturbed about, Ami, is the real normalization of anti-Semitism in American society, in Western society. We saw during the whole fight with Israel and Hamas that Jews were getting nakedly attacked in the streets, something that you would have seen in 1930s Germany. I'm seeing other reports where, a Jewish kid on a football team was forced to eat a pepperoni pizza by his coach, where somebody was driving around Florida in Boca Raton, which has a very high Jewish community, with a Hitler was right van. What is happening in society? When I was brought up, we were all taught about the Holocaust and never again was the catch cry. What is happening in the West that this is now normal and okay, and all of the woke lefties who cry discrimination about everything else are letting this go with a pass?
It's so interesting. When I was a kid growing up in Los Angeles, anti-Semitism was a thing. Anti-Semitism was a look. Again, I want to make clear. Just because there are racist incidents doesn't make this country a racist country. Just because there are anti-Semitic incidents doesn't make this country an anti-Semitic country. It is not. It is the best place Jews have ever lived, bar none, in the world. Now, there was anti-Semitism when I was growing up as a kid. Our synagogue, my school, at least once or twice a year was defaced with swastikas, or kids were beaten up in my school or synagogue on the streets. It happened, and it came almost exclusively from the right. It came almost exclusively from the hard right, from extremists, from skinheads, from neo-Nazis. Then what happened was we entered this Goldilocks period, maybe when I was like 15 or 16 years old, maybe 20, 30 years ago, 40 years, about 30 years ago. And what happened was anti-Semitism kind of went away. We didn't see it much at all. And it really was a wonderful time for Jews in America. What we've seen now is a resurgence of anti-Semitism, but it's not coming from the right, it's coming from the left. And the reason why you see it come from the left is this insidious notion, this theory of intersectionality, that all people who are victims have to come together. And they look at Israel, and they look at the Jews, and they say, oh, you're successful, you're rich, you're educated, therefore you are the oppressors. You are the people that we have to stamp out. And that's what we've seen. That's why it's come from the left. But even more disturbing than that is the refusal by the mainstream media to even acknowledge it. When there was less than 100, I want to be less than 100 attacks on, or even any kind of anti-Asian anything, less than 100, it was the front page of the New York Times for 2 days. There are more anti-Semitic attacks per capita than Asians, black people, Muslim people, gay people combined. Not news, it's been going on for a number of years. But there's never mention of that in the mainstream media, and it makes you wonder why. It really does.
Ami Horowitz, always so great to chat to you. In fact, I have to tell you, I was asked to speak at the Central Synagogue in Bondi the other day, and everyone came rushing up to me and said, do you know Ami Horowitz? What's he like? We love Ami. And I know you've been there. So thanks so much for coming on. You've got huge fans out here in Australia, rightly so. Thanks, Ami Horowitz.
Thank you.